So you literally saw the advent of social.
Brands becoming more interesting by actually behaving like content creators.
And then of course experiential marketing in a way where the product's actually adding value to you. Your marketing campaign is also adding value to you. It's not just selling to you.
It's the master's union version of marketing.
So, let's go back to from newspapers to TV to digital to influencer to now products and experiences that add value.
Yeah.
And then to prepare for that, our students or just future marketers just have to be really good at AI.
Yeah.
So they can know the power of AI. Hi Harshil, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Pratham. Thank you for having me.
No, super exciting. Is this your first time in Delhi?
It is not my first time in Delhi, but it's my first time in Masters Union.
Okay.
And I've been blown away.
Okay.
Really, really smart campus that you put together. It's a sprawling campus of, I would say 40,000 plus. So,
in Delhi, we have the luxury of space, unlike in Bombay.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing we have going for us.
Yeah.
But how do you see sort of, let's actually start with your education.
Yeah.
How was your education experience?
I actually liked my education. I did a Bachelor of Mass Media. I did 11th and 12th of the IB program. So I was one of the first kids in India.
Same, by the way.
Yeah, to pass through the IB program.
How much did you get on 45?
I'm not going to say.
It's okay,
it was something like 36 or something.
That's not too bad, including TOK and the others.
I don't remember. I think back then we didn't have the TOK grade. You just needed to go through. Okay, so 36 on 45 was my grade. But it was good. And then after I did the IB, then I decided to stay back in India. I didn't go abroad to study. So I had to do a little bit of paperwork, convincing the universities that convert this grade, it's legitimate, etc. So finally it happened. I did my Bachelor of Mass Media.
So what was your experience in IB like, and how was it different from, let's say, your class 10, where you probably did what, ICSE or CBSE?
Whole world of difference. So I think like TOK was a big game changer.
Let's talk about TOK a little bit. My audience does not know TOK.
Yeah, so TOK is IB's version of, I guess it's like free-flowing philosophy.
Yeah, theory of knowledge.
Theory of knowledge. So you break down, really subjects which are like what is truth, what is certainty, what is,
intelligence, what is knowledge.
Exactly. You really learn how to break problems down. But if I had to really sum it up, what that taught me, and I'd love to know your view also, what that taught me is that it taught me the way to learn. So right from moving from like, hey, let's mug this up. We went into really understanding or learning a concept. So I think that was the main thing. If I had to distill the 2 years of IB, that is what it taught me how to learn.
Yeah.
And the best part, which I remember, like my high point is that at the end of the 2 years, I don't really value awards that much, but I got an award that time, which was called the Lifetime Learner Award. That was a big deal for me. It was like more than the award, it was a signal. Okay, just keep doing this. And that was working for me. What about you?
No, very interesting, because I was in a boarding school, right? And I did ICSE till class 10, and I did really well in ICSE, like 99% type well, right? And I was on top of the world. And then I did IB in my grade 11 and grade 12. And in grade 11, I literally failed all of the 6 subjects in 11th, right? Because we were so not used to being free when it comes to like learning, right? You were always told, किताब के end में ये 10 questions हैं, ये 10 questions के 10 जवाब हैं, ये सीख लो, ये exam में आएंगे. हमें ऐसे सिखाया था ICSE में. But in IB, they literally told us to write a 6,000 word extended essay. And I was like, how do you write a 4,000? Like, I need more instructions. Tell me what to do in paragraph 1, tell me what to do in paragraph 2.
Yeah.
And we were completely like, we were deers in front of a headlight. We didn't know what to do.
But that's what I enjoyed that the most.
Yeah.
Because it was most challenging. Like I remember the first thing, English higher level, we had to study a book. My first book was The Fine Balance. A Fine Balance, Row Interim Mystery. And then you had to write an essay on breaking the book down. Not what the book said, but what it meant. And what were the themes, what was not kind of explained in the book that you needed to decipher. So I really enjoyed that part.
We had this book called The Girl Who Can, which was written by the finance minister of Nigeria at the time. Right? And it was 10 stories of Nigerian girls who had really broken stereotypes. Right? And this is us sitting in Dehradun, reading about Nigerian girls and breaking down the literature of Nigeria. And at one point I was thinking, why am I doing this? But as I was doing it, I realized it's so rewarding. I suddenly know everything there is to know about Nigeria and about the stance of women there. And when I went to college later on, and I got the chance to go to the US, there I realized how important all of that,
so in the US, knowledge. Where did you study?
I studied in this college called Penn, University of Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Yeah. And
there
UPenn, yes. And there, we had classes like South American literature, right, where we had to talk, and we were learning history and geography and politics through literature.
Yeah.
Right. And that, I remember there was a book on internment camps, Japanese internment camps post World War II in the US.
Yeah.
Right. And literature coming out of there. And, and it just tells you like you're living such a small bubble. The world is such a.
Exactly. Like through literature, even, I mean, like The Quiet American was a book we studied, which was about the Vietnam War and Americans in the Vietnam War. So really understanding geopolitics through literature, really understanding through economics, how you can connect the dots to business, how you can understand macroeconomics and then therefore understand business management better. So just really connecting the dots was the fun part. How you use that to build what you've built at Masters Union.
Yeah, no, I mean, in one of the courses, I was partnered up with someone who later became my business partner. His name is Randy's Lebanese, and he's someone who had basically been a refugee in Lebanon, then moved to the US and grown up in the US. Changed like 17 schools in the process.
Yeah.
And I realized that by virtue of him changing 17 schools across 17 different cities, running from one city to the other, fleeing, not running.
Yeah.
The perspective he had towards life was incredibly different.
Yeah.
For him, starting a company was not a risk. He's like, dude, listen, I have bombs falling on me every day.
Yeah.
Starting a company is not a risk.
The definition of risk is totally different.
It's like, no, I mean, if we went swimming once and I could see there were like 18 different, like, marks on his body of like shrapnel going inside. And I was like, shit, this guy's seen something.
Yeah.
And here's me like...
We don't understand the meaning of risk
at all.
I think especially like people who've grown up early 90s, India, we've been through a pretty decently good time, I would say. So we haven't really understood what risk means in that sense. Or like, what really pushing ourselves or going through trouble means. I think it's different versions of troubles. I mean, I don't want to belittle one trouble versus the other, but this is a different perspective.
No, but tell me one thing. It seems like literature was one of your...
I like literature.
You like literature, right?
I like literature.
Is that what led you to build your career in marketing?
Kind of. I mean, what the short story is that because I wasn't getting into any course, the University of Mumbai said, okay, we'll let you get into a course if you crack an entrance exam.
Okay.
And there was 36 on 50 average, average of the class. And I sat in for an entrance exam for mass communications for a course that University of Mumbai has on Bachelor of Mass Media. I came third in that out of some 4,000 people who were applying. So I was like, damn, looks like I'm good at this stuff, So then I got into the college and I did 3 internships, year 1, year 2, year 3. My first internship was in an advertising agency. And I really liked the vibe.
Which one was it?
It was Dentsu.
Oh,
Dentsu, before Dentsu was Dentsu in India. Before like the Japanese had 100% stake. It was Dentsu Marcom back then. Run by Sandeep Goyal, who currently runs Diffusion.
Got it.
So I was an intern there and I was just making notes on like, hey, this is what's all wrong with the place. So, this is not how it should be. And I was making those notes. Second year, I did an internship in a tech company. It was an ambitious project before 4G and 5G came in. There was a technology called WiMAX.
Okay.
So there was an interesting project to build WiMAX boxes all over the city of Mumbai. So I was kind of working on that. I had to use social media to get people to convince people to put the box on their building for free. So I built a Facebook group, one of the first Facebook groups, which actually went viral. It was called I Want All of Bombay to Have Wireless Internet. Okay. And then everybody joined that group. And I said,
that was just the name of the
that was the name of the group.
And this is 2000?
This was 2006.
Okay. So Facebook is like 2 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just in.
Yeah.
And, and Facebook was versus Orkut. So the premium guys were on Facebook. So like that was a large group there. And then I used that to recruit customers to build, put boxes on top of their buildings. So that taught me saying, okay, look, I like this advertising space. I like the copy communication part of it. There's social media. And third year, I did an internship with a company called WhatBlog, which then went on to become What Consult, which was then sold to Dentsu.
Okay.
So WhatBlog was effectively the attempt at doing a tech crunch of India.
Okay.
So I would wake up every day and like before like 6 to 12:30, I would have to write like 6 articles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Follow the news.
Without ChatGPT.
Yeah, without ChatGPT. Yeah. So it was like, without ChatGPT. So then I kind of put this together, content creation, advertising, social. And then that's when I formed my first company right out of college, Foxy Moron. And ran that. It scaled up pretty well. We were 4 partners. I wasn't too sure about that
Isn't this a design agency?
It was social media.
Okay.
Social media first.
Okay.
So
then it design also, because we worked with them. I didn't know it was founded by you.
So there is a design practice also.
Correct.
So we started that company, and earlier the company was doing something with t-shirt printing, etc. I said, look, we got to drop all this. Let's do social, because social is the big thing. So then
so you literally saw the advent of social coming in. I mean, like, you must have been one of the first agencies or the young agencies to actually.
Yeah, we were one of the first. You can say in the first three to build the whole space of social. So we did a lot of projects, and
I mean, so from 2006 to 2023, it's almost 17 years.
Yeah.
And if you had to describe this entire evolution of where we are standing today in terms of social, like, do that in like 1 minute for me if you can.
Okay, it's a difficult one, but social basically started with a large purpose of uniting the world. So, Mark Zuckerberg, very early on, he would give a lot of speeches about like the world as one community.
Correct.
What we then saw is the creation of micro communities. And that was really interesting. What nobody saw is the boom of influencers the way we are seeing right now. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg back then predicted the growth of personal brands. And I'll tell you why the growth of personal brands happened. Because actually between 2006 and 2013, it was the era of brands on social. So you see the largest communities were Starbucks, what have you. Yeah. So they were the largest communities, like 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, whatever.
Correct. Companies, basically.
Companies were the largest communities. And then...
And they were serving their own purpose.
They were serving their own purpose. And the content started getting very repetitive.
Salesy.
And then came the individual who started doing outlandish things. The algorithm then figured out that, look, actually we got to push individuals, and if we push individuals, we're going to have more stickiness. And then that led to the explosion of influencers. Digital marketing then became a bit more, I would say a bit more traditional. So like digital marketing and social was a bit like the wild, wild west for marketers. I'll give you one example, like what marketers used to love back in the day in between 2009 and 2013, what marketers used to love is television. You can only do a 30-second ad or a 15-second ad or a 20-second ad. Marketers loved the fact that you could get a 3-minute space on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of work. Like I did for Maybelline, we launched this product, Baby Lips, where we had Alia Bhatt put together a kiss song, and it went viral. And then we had done this, this amazing film about this young boy in a village somewhere in Maharashtra who basically used solar energy to, who was catching fireflies to help his sister study.
Correct.
And then, then there was an initiative that Ghania had around lighting up villages. So we did that. So really the landscape was very, very big. Suddenly all that went out of the window. And then you had the advent of influencers. So digital marketing became more traditional in the sense that, like,
TV and then digital.
Digital became the TV template.
Correct.
Which is that you do 30-seconders, you do nice banners, you do interactive. Correct. And that's what you're now seeing with the advent of CGI, etc. The Maybelline eyelashes, or like we had we had the the milk bikis on the ceiling, or different things with CGI. So now you're seeing brands becoming more interesting by actually behaving like content creators. So now that's where brands are now catching up.
No, I think like every company has to become a media company at this point. I mean, we look at Masters Union, and I feel like my content budget is way, way, way more than my digital marketing budget. Right? And over time, it's, I think we are a business school, right? And we have no business being on YouTube and Instagram. That's where we spend a lot of our time on. I mean, I think our ad spends are like basically down to zero. But our content spends are now ballooning. But that also...
also depends on the kind of company though. For a Masters Union, I think it works that you are so heavy on content, because people are basically going to come in and they're going to get convinced because of the content that you will
bottom of the funnel.
Bottom of the funnel is very, very important. Whereas a lot of companies, it's about physical and mental availability. So that's where media planning still counts. Like if you're an FMCG product or you're a digital FMCG product, fast, you need to maintain a certain amount of visibility and digital availability.
Understood.
And mental availability such that I am on TV on India, Pakistan, because I am an impulse product. I am Cadbury's, I am an impulse product.
I need to be on top of mind.
I need to be there, and I am available everywhere. So the trick to doing a marketing spend is if you want to do a heavy marketing spend, you need to make sure that you are available everywhere.
Of course, yeah.
If you're not available everywhere, marketing money is a waste of money.
Correct.
And because you guys are available in this one fantastic location, and you basically now putting it here, saying here's where the magic really happens. So you're showing what the magic is, and it's, you know, you are what you show. And that's what people come and experience, which is why the high NPS, etc.
Got it. Understood. Makes a lot of sense. So now, you know, we spoke about newspapers, then TV happened, then digital happened. Now, you know, it's a lot of it is influencer-led marketing.
Yeah.
Of course, CGI. What's next? Like, what are some of the trends that you're seeing early?
I think what we are seeing is, I think we're seeing very interesting space where through the advent of AI, brands and companies being able to really add genuine value to customers' lives. What do I mean by that? So we're thinking of a campaign right now, you know, where with Happy Dent, we've just launched a campaign where there is a lovely a stand-up comedy show, which is only for people who cannot hear.
Okay.
You know, so it's a sign language based comedy. And now what we've done is we're building an AI which is able to take up and convert any comedy video on the internet to a sign language video. So you're seeing the ability of brands to really permeate people's lives through tangible digital products. I think also we are seeing now the world is a lot more technically sound. So what I mean by this, world is a lot more technically sound, right? Like back in the day, 5 years back, 6 years back.
So going back to the Happy Dent one, what does Happy Dent get out of that?
So it's, what does Happy Dent get out of that? I think I'll answer the question in two ways. Okay. One is majority of sales of Happy Dent happen through physical availability and mental availability. Correct. So it has to advertise a lot, and you know it's got a very high repeat rate. Right. But when you're a market leader and when you know your mission is to make people smile, anything that you do which edges people to smile consistently even more, it stays true to your brand purpose. Got it. So the large companies are like really edging into purpose. And same thing, I can take an example of Britannia, you know, like now, but I'll just complete the earlier point about how, you know, now you have a world where companies can really build anything, you know, like building a digital product, building a tech product is now quite fast. It's quite ubiquitous. You know, product management skills are quite easily available. Technical skills are available. There's a lot of no-code opportunities. Something up very quickly, Exactly. So earlier, if you wanted to invest in something like that, you're thinking of like something very, very high in terms of budget. Now you're saying I'll park 2.5-3 crores for this, and I can make something very meaningful for that. Another example I'll take is for Britannia. You know, so Britannia has an amazing product, Mari, which is used by millions of housewives in millions of homes. So they are the ones who decide what to buy it. The other thing that's happened now is that in India today, every action that you take or everything that you do, dropping your kids to school, you know, coaching them, mentally counseling them, making food, all of that has a price today on the internet. So we're building what we call a housewife salary calculator. And this is the first time in India that you can actually calculate. You know, we've seen a lot of newspaper press that what is the value of the GDP
contribution of housewives.
Of a housewife. But you don't have it today. But now you have an equivalent price of that.
Very cool.
So build a technology around that, which goes on pack, which goes everywhere. You know, so that is where I see the, you know, like the early signs of where it's going. And of course, like where we are ultimately heading is if you see the scene from Minority Report, where Tom Cruise is walking through a mall and then everything is hyper-personalized to him. Linked to, you know, what he ate yesterday, to what he prefers, to the way he looks. So we're moving into an era of marketing which is very, very personalized, tailor-made and hyper-personalized. So that is where marketing is headed. And I think the near immediate opportunities are to create real products and use the technology at our disposal to create something interesting.
So, I mean, hyper-personalization is one. And then, of course, experiential marketing in a way where the product's actually adding value to you. Your marketing campaign is also adding value to you. It's not just selling to you, but it's doing something to you that is, first of all, making you smile, but also just adding, improving your life in a way.
It's the Masters Union version of marketing.
Oh, wait, all right. Okay. I'll look at it that way. I mean, one of our marketing tactics is essentially like our CDC podcast. Right? And that's basically marketing for us. But at the same time, we are educating our customers about various industries. Even this podcast that we're doing, right? At the end of the day, we want people to like learn more about what's happening in the industry.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have this inside hook where we are trying to also sell our products.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk some more ideas.
So with respect to this, I think just one thing I want to put on the table, which is that marketing like this, there's a lot of less opportunity for FAF.
Yeah.
So the course that we've created, which is the Schbang Academy coming together with Masters Union to build this course in strategic marketing and AI. I think everything that we are talking about here, people get to experience in a much more detailed way in the course.
Correct.
So what I like about this way of, especially in this whole information age, building this kind of content is definitely, I think 100% if somebody does the course, they're going to get significant value.
Right.
But even if they won't, this adds some value to their lives and
exactly.
will give them a direction.
That people actually get value just by even listening to this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, doing the course will be a lot more in detail.
Yeah.
Makes any other ideas that come to your mind where some campaigns have really added value to a customer rather than just sold to them?
The one that I remember is multi-winner globally called Share the Load.
Of course. Yeah.
Ariel's Share the Load, and where it provoked through a simple question around laundry. What I loved about that campaign was that it's got a very, very simple question. It's like, should women do all the household laundry? And it's not asked the question very, very, it's not campaigning, but it's asked a question. And then that question itself provoked a lot of people to spark a conversation. And then what I loved also about that campaign is they went to many, many different touch points. So, they had also tied up at one of the fashion weeks where they created inside the clothing, they created wash care labels, him washing and her washing, things like that. So, where a campaign moves and leaves from just mass communication and looks at various different touch points, that is where it becomes interesting.
This salary calculator is going to hit home.
Salary calculator is going to hit home. Like it's one that we are building for international awards.
Amazing,
because it will do that. We will have a film which will provoke the question.
Correct.
Then we will have the tech, and then we will have variations of this wash care label, etc. So that's how we try to sit to build campaigns, and that is how marketing in the new world for large companies is going to be built. Because how can you tie in purpose, which also links to an interesting message which people would be enjoying to watch, and then how do you then take it across touch points such that they can be amplified by influencers and the like? Because ultimately influencers to talk about brands also need something interesting to talk about. An influencer can't just say, hey, here's a biscuit and this is what it is. But if the influencer says a message which is very, very interesting, you're suddenly utilizing the influencer very well.
Got it. I mean, so now let's talk about talent, right? So you have to deliver these campaigns. You have to think of these campaigns. You have probably hundreds of clients. So how do you build your team in a way that you can actually service your clients and do all of these things and get awards every year? How does that work?
I mean, we have a pretty good recruitment engine. We had today about 1,200 of us across our 3 cities, and we've got 2 centers, one in the UK, and now one recently we acquired a company in Amsterdam. So we're building out, I think for us, the way we see talent is that we think that the way IT went in the early 90s is the age of creative industries now. So, in our business, just to take a step back, you got WPP above the Masters Union campus. WPP is a British origin company. Omnicom is a US origin company. Publicis is French. Digitas is part of Publicis, which is French. Havas is French. Dentsu is Japanese. There's no Indian company which is a global company with a presence everywhere. And with the kind of Indian talent that you see, with the expression of creativity that you see, with the ability of technology, the ability of clarity to put strategy together, we're building a hub in India. And now with, offices across the world where we can bring in business from across the world. So we have a very simple mission, which is from India to the world and the best of the world to India. And that is what, that is what is driving us. Now, how do we really build this talent? People complain that it's a bit difficult to get into Schbang, and I'm okay with that because we've got a pretty rigorous recruitment process. One fast way to fast track that recruitment process is to get into internship. So I know that 20 of the students who do the Masters Union Schbang Academy course are going to be on the floor. So we typically, if they're well entrenched into brands, we're able to make them an offer quickly. But also we have a fairly rigorous, kind of testing process. So we, and with each with each profile, we got a different process. So for example, if you're taking a technology project manager, then we've deliberately made sure that the test for the technology project manager is very, very difficult. You need to think a bit like a product manager and a project manager to be able to do it.
Let's say I'm a BBA or an MBA student today and I want to really get into marketing.
Yeah.
Right. What recommendation do you have for me?
So the first thing we look at on the CV is we look at work which is outside of
college.
Which is outside, which is basically what in advertising we call a portfolio. So we look at your portfolio of work. We look at if you've been able to get something viral, if you are part of Masters Union and if you've done a video which is on their channel which is crazy, or a couple of videos which is crazy, or you've done something on the podcast and you contributed to building the podcast, so you built an IP at Masters Union. Those are things that we will first look at, which is immediately going to get our attention. Of course, grades is a second layer where we look at the grades as well. But the first thing which gets interest, also like there's a big trend right now creating spec ads. So you create ads for companies or you create campaigns for companies which you don't have a brief of just by following what they do.
Got it. They're called spec ads.
Yeah, spec ads, yeah. Or like if you are able to, and then some people are more strategic than creative. So what I would highly recommend is that if you know our clients, like 15 of our clients, and you read the annual reports and send us a summary that, look, this is what your clients are actually up to. And this is the trick that you're missing. That is going to get our attention. Awesome. So it's stuff like that.
Please take notes of this. This is a clear hack. You should use it.
So this is how we would fast track somebody up the recruitment chain. And our recruiters are always looking for, this extra special spark. We've been fortunate because we've got, the fact that, you chose us. I'm thankful that you chose us to collaborate with. I remember we spoke
very briefly, I think
very briefly, and there's something in your mind. You said, look, we got to do a course with this. I was also like, I don't know if we can really do it. We went and built a team. So we've actually put, the people building this course are two of our top talents. There's Radhika and there's Anshul. Radhika has basically been with Schbang for about 6 years out of the 8 years that we've been around. She was our head of strategic planning. So she's been moved to specifically look at academy, and one of the big projects in the academy is the partnership that we have with you guys. And Anshul also started his career at Schbang, did about 3 years, went to be an entrepreneur, came back, and he leads our culture and communication. So they're both like very closely working on this together. I think they've built something very interesting.
So I honestly feel that, and I'm not talking about Masters Union, but most MBA colleges or BBA colleges, I think the way they teach marketing, the 4 Ps and this and that, I mean, are those things even relevant today? Like, is that what's going to get them through the interview?
No.
Because short answer.
No, that's not going to get them through the interview. I think those 4 Ps, etc., are still important because it's like a mental model in which the world thinks. So you have to kind of know a mental model in which the world thinks, but today's people who are breaking the mold are the ones who are breaking the models. So if you can show a bit of that, then that is what we are looking for.
Got it.
And that's not just we are looking for, I think that is what all clients are looking for. So this happy and smile one that I'm talking to you about, which is that how do you have a mindset which connects the dots between saying that, okay, the purpose of this company is actually to make people smile, and therefore I will make the ones who don't hear comedy smile, and then I will build an AI which turns every video into a comedy video. That is what then gets appreciated at the global scale. So we are looking for minds like that who can, see, sense, know.
But how do you, clearly the usual curriculum of an MBA school is not going to prepare you to be able to build such campaigns. Let's accept that. What will?
I think a lot of classroom learning. And a lot of real exposure to the world, and a lot of also, for me, why I said share the load, because share the load was the blueprint for me to come up with salary calculator.
Got it.
Because I look at that work and then I talk to the people who are behind that work. I understand what's going on. I spend some time with the marketing manager. I spend some time with the architect of the campaign, the creative architect of the campaigns, a guy called Josie Paul, legend in our industry.
Okay.
So once you see a bit of that, and you see what is going on behind the thinking, you start forming the mental models, and then that's what you break. So I feel like that is if in classes, you get to see a lot more of the world outside the class, and if you get to expose yourself to the world outside the class and the thinking that goes on behind that. So today, for example, I know that, with respect to AI also, one is, can I use visual AI and can I use video AI? But actually in the top professional companies, what kind of prompts are they putting that is delivering? And at what point does the prompt stop and the design engineering actually come in? Where do I bring in the human? Where do I remove the AI? Those practical things of knowing, seeing, sensing, will move somebody forward.
So like, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you need to first have exposure to all of these campaigns. You should have at least seen 100, 200 campaigns.
Yeah.
And then automatically to come with the 101st one will become muscle memory to you.
Yeah, there's a fantastic website if people want to go to. It's called lovethework.com.
Lovethework.com.
And it's got a free version also, lovetheworkmore.com or something like that, where you can see the campaigns that have won at the International Festival of Creativity for the last, 10, 15, 20 years. So it's a great platform for people to go in, and we've included some of that in the course that we've built out together.
Awesome. So of course the course is called Strategic Marketing and AI.
Why that?
Why
that
AI?
title?
I mean, I know like our teams worked on it, but
yeah,
like I'd still love to hear from you.
Yeah. So why? I mean, there was a thought to it, and there was a bit of the old and a bit of the new. That's what we try to put into the course. So strategic marketing and AI, because AI is the next big thing that people will need to get good at. Prompt engineering is what people need to get good at. Getting prompts to do design and at scale is what people need to get good at. Yeah. Using AI to do analysis at a large level is what people need to get good at. Today you put an Excel sheet into GPT-4, it will give you an analysis of how it is. Now, how can I further improve that? How can I further build dashboards which are like, enabled with GPT-4, but also giving me directional signals. Sure. So AI from a content creation perspective, from a technology utilization perspective to analyze, from a design perspective to get the most beautiful outputs, from the perspective of also just using those APIs to build new products. I give you a product idea. We're not doing it right now, but we had this thing with Maybelline New York, which they have a big initiative around mental health. And what they found is that there is one therapist for every 100,000 people in India. Okay. So the best way to do it is to turn everybody into mental health allies. That's the way people can be there for each other. So the product idea that we had pitched to them is that, an app which is just listening while you're being an ally, is listening to you, is recognize your voice, is listening to you, and then giving you guidance feedback on how you can do better.
What are the follow-up questions you can ask? What can you
exactly do? So like that kind of stuff is, if you want to build that kind of stuff, AI is that. Right. And then strategic marketing, because we do a lot of like basics. I think while we're talking about the new, it's very important to remember the old. So what is brand persona, what is branding basics, but really the coolest brands in the world, and breaking that down is what we're doing. So it's a bit of old and new. And also how to speak to consumers. Fundamentally, while we do all this new stuff, the biggest strength in marketing and the strongest marketing people are the ones who understand consumers really well. Yeah, and the ones who don't have the fear of talking to consumers.
Absolutely.
And who don't have the fear of judgment on consumers. One of the biggest lessons I learned, a mistake I was making, I was handling marketing for a cruise company. Okay. I made a statement. I walked into the room. I made a statement. One of my mentors was in the room, and I said to her that, these are people who would go to Mahindra Holidays kind of people. So they're not like that premium. So I think we should market this way. She said, stop right there, because what you've just done is you made a judgment on that consumer. You've bucketed them in a certain way. Every consumer, you go under the skin, you will find that there are a lot
more nuances.
More nuances to it. And your job is to appreciate those nuances and then find the thing that will really appeal to them to sell that cruise. So that was a big lesson for me. So we try to bring a bit of the old and the new together.
Got it. This is very interesting. Let's go back to from newspapers to TV to digital to influencer to now products and experiences that add value. Yeah. And then to prepare for that, our students or just the future marketers just have to be really good at AI. Yeah. So they can know the power of AI. They can leverage that to build these products. Products are not going to be easy. It's not going to be as easy as crafting copy for a newspaper ad, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's where the AI will come in and help you sort of, or the no-code tools, etc. Yeah. And we've worked together on crafting this course, and we're very thankful for your time and your team's time. What I want to understand is, we believe in learning by doing, right, and not learning by listening. Yeah. Yeah. And so all of these things that we're talking about, will the students actually get to create campaigns and pitch campaigns to real customers or yourself as they go through the course?
Only then everybody gets a virtual internship. Okay. So that's going to
What does that mean? What is that?
That means that they'll be inducted into a pod into the company. Awesome. Where they will be working on live brands, and they will have the opportunity to pitch ideas. They will have the opportunity to go and meet consumers. They will have the opportunity to really understand the briefs that some of the largest companies are working on. So the learning by doing is going to happen. Yeah. A lot of the learning by doing is also going to happen in the coursework. So, part of the coursework is to build a new brand. Part of the coursework is to, really do something, a project around AI. So, any of these pieces are also going to be there. And then there's going to be the virtual internship, and 20 people get to do the internship physically.
In your offices.
In the offices. So, I think there's going to be a lot that people can take out of it. And the learning by doing, the philosophy that Masters Union has is going to stay true. We are very clear that through this partnership, we have to be able to add value to what the philosophy you guys have.
Absolutely.
And simultaneously for us also, the philosophy that we have of taking the best Indian talent across the world, we should be able to, see good experiments coming out of that.
I want to touch on placements a little bit, right? So of course, 20 kids will end up working with you as interns. And of course, some of them, and I hope all of them actually convert to a full-time role. But once they've gone through this course, do you think other agencies would be open to taking these kids, or will they feel they came from a competitor?
I hope not. I hope not. It's going to be a good experiment to see, honestly. And I
would love to take people who have worked in my competition. I learn from them.
Exactly.
I don't know how the agencies think.
No, maybe everybody needs to think like you, but I hope so. I don't see it as a bit of, that big a problem, because I think what people are going to see is what coursework they've done, and, how what they've done on their internship projects. And, also we've been, not specifically for this, but I've been speaking to the Advertising Agencies Association about how we need to be more involved in training.
Correct.
And they're all for, then therefore adding their stamp to it also. So maybe one of the things we could do is have one of the associations also put the stamp.
Let's work on that, actually. It's a great idea.
So, so that it doesn't become just Shebang. And it's also like, it's actually what we've done from our end is it's Shebang Academy who's doing it. Not
Shebang itself.
Not Shebang itself. And Shebang Academy, so far we've trained over 1,500 people across, multiple periods of time.
Right.
And that's something that we are solidifying further as well. So I think it's less Shebang, it's more Shebang Academy. It's, as you said, also people who are getting a peek into working on the largest brands, and they'll be ready to be hired by, by our competitors. By all means, let them.
Right. If you look at the placement reports across business schools, undergrad and postgrad, there is understanding, and it might be wrong, and you have to break this myth if it's a myth, that marketing salaries are always lower than product management salaries, that marketing salaries are always lower than data science salaries, that marketing salaries are lower than the sales plus the commission that you earn as sales.
Yeah.
So is that true? And if it is, and also how do the salaries evolve over time?
Yeah. So it is true. An entry-level marketing salary at entry level. So I think it's important to classify at entry level. Two things. Marketing has a lot more jobs. So number one, the number of jobs available in marketing are a lot more. Second is the entry level salary is always lower, but to be a good marketer, you will rise up the ranks very, very fast. I have had people who've joined me at an entry level salary of 4 lakh in 8 years earning 45 lakh per annum. So the speed of growth that you can look
10 times in 8 years.
Yeah, 10 times in 8 years is the speed of growth that you can look at. I think also because marketing, it's not a very it's not a very routine, regimental job. You need to bring your skill, you need to bring your creativity, you need to be able to bring an understanding of the market. So the ones who are actually very good, they get a fairly good premium as time goes by. And I think also in today's world, today's marketers are much better equipped to be tomorrow's CEOs than today's finance professionals or data professionals. Because what happens with data is that you're not really, yes, you're seeing a lot of data, but you're not interacting with the world. And you're not interacting with the customer, you're not being close to the customer. You're not doing something that actually drives top line growth. You may drive efficiencies through data, but with marketing, you have the skill to be able to drive offline growth.
Growth will come through marketing.
Yeah, you also interact with a lot more people. All sorts of customers, the entire company. A good marketing campaign in a large company will always bring along the entire company. So, you're getting CEO skills by starting as a marketer.
Got it.
I think the other role that would really, that are ready for CEO is the salespeople.
Yeah.
Because if you can, again, anything that you can do to drive top line growth, a company wants the CEO who does that with an interaction with maximum people. Right. So still, I would say marketing and sales are the drivers on that, not data.
Not data.
Data is, I'm not saying data is not good, but I don't think a data person, they lose out on a lot of that. So it's a function of what you leave on the table.
Unless a data person uses data to, help the marketing team and build a market better.
That also, but I would argue against that. Why I would say that is because ultimately you're looking at data in a silos in Excel.
Sitting alone.
I mean, you'll interact with a few people, but you won't interact as much. You won't move things. Today, still companies are looking for professionals who can make things bloom. And the people who can make things bloom are the ones who can move mountains. And the ones who can move mountains, I believe, are the marketeers.
No, I'll share one campaign that's really worked for us. Just shifting gears a little bit. We started this campaign called Off Campus.
Yeah.
Right. Most of the learning happens on campus, right? Not off campus. So we created this new series where students have to actually visit physically small businesses. It could be like the Sitaram, Divanchan, Chole Bhature wala.
Right.
All the way to Adani.
Yeah.
In fact, right now as we speak, our students are in Mundra Port in Adani in Gujarat.
Superb. Today's the 25th year.
Yes, I guess. Yes. Yeah, I think that's probably why they've taken the...
Yeah.
And it's someone from Adani who teaches a course, and he took the students to Adani, and now the students are actually touring the entire facility.
Nice.
Right? They're going to the port, they're going to the refinery, they're going to the Adani Wilmar refinery. It's all of those things they're doing. And what we are doing is we're just capturing that on camera. And essentially what you have done is you've created these small Indian case studies from a Chole Bhature wala to the Adani case study.
Yeah.
Right? And the Chole Bhature wala case study, which we launched, I think, a couple months ago, the last 2 months has been our best driver of traffic.
Oh, superb.
Right? And zero money spent.
Yeah.
Right? And so many students end up learning something new on that. It's incredibly interesting what content and what value adding marketing campaigns do for your brand.
Yeah.
This was super interesting learning for me, at least, right?
Yeah.
Which is, and it's also evergreen. An ad will be shown and will be removed, right? It will go. It's ephemeral. These campaigns are evergreen.
Yeah.
Any other campaigns that you've seen that you're super excited about?
Yeah. There was a campaign for Blue Skittles.
Okay.
So what they did was a very, very interesting campaign where so Skittles actually removed the Blue Skittles from their packs. And
it's not
consumers started to notice. And then consumers are like, where are the Blue Skittles? So then they released a video of this truck driver in Romania who said, I have a truck full of only Blue Skittles in my truck, but I'm not going to move anywhere till you guys join me on the journey. So it was a co-creation campaign with consumers where they had to basically gamify through likes, through comments, through different activities as it went along.
Interesting.
To move the truck. And finally the truck reached the packaging plant where then Blue Skittles were reinstated back into things like that. So that's an interesting campaign that I can remember of Blue Skittles.
I remember one which was Kinder Joy's campaign. I don't know if they created this app. I don't know if it was on in India, but a lot of kids in the US were using it. So you can basically like earn Kinder Joys by being on the app and playing a certain game.
Yeah.
And there were a bunch of games like from snake and ladders to chess, etc. And you can gain points and then actually redeem it for like Kinder Joys.
Nice.
And they connected the gamification with the joy of obtaining a Kinder Joy.
Nice.
It's also quite interesting too.
Yeah, we're working on the Kinder Joy, the new launch for there's this post-Diwali, etc. All of that. We have some interesting work coming out for Kinder Joy.
Have you also, so the company I used to run before Masters Union was a company called Outgrow. And we make interactive content tools for marketing campaigns, right? And it's a drag and drop system where you can just create quizzes, assessments, graders.
Yeah.
And one of our most popular quizzes, which was on BuzzFeed for almost 11 years, was which Disney princess am I?
Ah, yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's like 220 million clicks.
Wow.
Annually.
Wow.
Right? And I'm like, why does everyone care about the Disney princess? But it's super interesting. And what they would do with that, is that they will ask some very interesting questions. What's your shoe size? Right? And once they have shoe sizes of 220 million people a year, imagine what cool stuff you can do with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So they actually just sell that data to shoe companies.
Yeah.
And say, hey, listen, now you can actually target.
Yeah, so there are, syndicates which classify a lot of this data, put a third-party layer to it, and then resell it further to companies. So we would, for example, you could buy postpaid users. You could buy a credit card bill.
The cookies for them.
Of 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees a month plus. So that kind of makes sure that your targeting is a bit more personalized. So that's where this whole, that's where our media team actually comes in, which is that our media buying and syndication team, which kind of decides big money decisions for clients. So there's the creative guys who decide, okay, what to say. Then there's the media guys who say where to say. And then there's the technology layer of people who kind of say that, for all of this, that what to say, where to say, we're putting the infrastructure layer also for clients. And that's where personalization comes in. One of the really top end cases that we've done is for Tata Communications, where we built a Netflix-like consumer experience for a B2B brand. Now in B2B, you don't typically see the Netflixization. What I mean by the Netflixization is that what I want to see, I see at that very moment. So right with respect to IP tracking, what we've done is basically built an IP tracking and some technology on top of that, third-party technology on top of that, to identify where the consumer is coming from. If we have first-party data of that consumer, which means we know that the consumer is already a company that has registered an interest with the client, then the website personalizes very differently versus if they're coming from North America versus Europe, it personalizes very differently. And in some cases, because of the IP tracking, you also get to understand the industry they're coming from. So if they're coming from auto, then you see only white papers with respect to cloud and auto. So that kind of makes it, so this link, what you're saying that, I'm just trying to link the two dots. One is, can I know the shoe size? Can I know what they've bought from me before? And can I know where they're coming from? So I know what sells in those regions. So I then show only that. That's what's exciting about marketing right now.
Yeah, no. It's way more than just copywriting, and it's way more than just crafting an ad. I think there's so much more intelligence that goes into building a successful campaign.
Yeah, and you see a little bit of here, look, data is coming here. Your analysis of data is coming here. But if you can orchestrate this whole thing together, that's why I say that a good marketer today is ready to be a CEO.
Yeah. They touch every department, every skill essentially. Got it. One thing I want to touch upon is also around, one thing is to come up with the campaign. The other thing is to actually convince the client that, hey, this is good for you. Right? Now, like when agencies come and pitch to Masters Union also, I know my brand the best. I know what I want from my brand. A lot of the times they may have good ideas, but I'm more often than not defensive. Ki nahi, yaar, ye nahi chalega, ye aise nahi aise. So don't good marketers also need to be able to pitch their ideas in a way?
100%. And I think the biggest trick to winning any campaign, if you're sitting in front of a CEO, is to demonstrate to the CEO that you know his customer really well. So if I was an agency pitching to you, I would first study with all your students and I would study with the students who've not made it and the students who've dropped out. So one is, if I'm able to really get a pulse of that, the ones who are inside, what do they love about your Masters Union? There is a perception that the CEO has, and there's a perception, or the client has, and there's a perception of the consumer. So if I'm able to understand that, okay, this is what the consumer of Masters Union is actually enjoying about the product, this is why they've bought in, this is where they would rate highly, this is where they would rate lower.
Then you have my ear.
Then I have your ears. Then you have the trust. Then you'll be like, okay, they know what they're talking about. That's why I'll buy it a bit more. And also I'll be able to answer the challenges that you may pose. I'll be able to answer with specific cases, not a general, no, this would work. But this will work for you because of 1, 2, 3 things.
So is that how you start all your pitches then?
I try to, yeah. So we have a ABC formula, audience, brand and category. So we do 2 things with a pitch is that we always believe you should win the pitch before the pitch. So you need to kind of make sure that you know the client before you spend time on tissue sessions. You spend time really acclimatizing with the client, soft kind of selling of what you want. Not just selling, but when you give the idea softly in a non-formal environment, you may also get feedback, which you can then tweak your idea around. So you win the pitch before the pitch. And then the other formula is the ABC, which is the audience. You really break down the audience, which is what we just spoke about. The brand, what does the brand historically stand for? And why, what's their purpose? Why do they exist? How have they done stuff before? And the category, how is the category evolving? What are the top players in the category doing? So you put the ABC together with a bit of the trust of the client. That's how you can sell pretty much anything.
Got it. Understood. As an entrepreneur, right, we're always told that we should build product companies. SaaS companies and companies that can scale really well. Agencies are none of that. Right. So if I am a marketer, right, and I want to be entrepreneurial, I want to be an entrepreneur, would you recommend that I start an agency today?
I think it's a tough business. I think today in India you have, at last count, close to 40,000 agencies in the ecosystem.
Just marketing.
Just marketing agencies. I was in the Indira Gandhi Stadium, is it? In the indoor stadium.
Okay.
Is it? Was it Jawaharlal Nehru?
Jawaharlal. That's outdoor stadium. Huh?
Okay, there's an indoor stadium also, big indoor stadium.
Okay.
I was delivering a talk last year sometime in December, early Jan, where we had stadium filled with 4,000 marketers, 4,000 small agency owners. I've been traveling across the country, wherever have you, Bhopal, Indore, different parts, Jaipur. You're seeing the rise of a lot of small agencies able to cater to variety of clients. Last year, Google India onboarded 300,000 new advertisers. So
300,000 new advertisers. Wow.
Yeah. So there's an interesting story of a company called Wieden and Kennedy, which was the advertising agency of Nike. Okay. They came up with the line "Just Do It." Wieden and Kennedy was an agency building out of Portland, Oregon, when all the big agencies were on Madison Avenue in New York. Yeah. Wieden and Kennedy is today probably one of the most well-respected global companies with respect to creativity. They have a great center in Delhi also, and they have good practice in India. They built the Indigo brand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Hello 6C comes out of Wieden and Kennedy. Now, I see that just like India over the next 45 years is going to have a lot of Nikes coming out of the Jabalpur and the Jaipur and the Bhopal of India, and not necessarily the Mumbai and the Delhi. You will have a lot of companies coming out of Mumbai and Delhi, but you'll also have this. So I think it's a good time to start if you can anchor yourself to a client that is going to go really big. So
even if at a loss in the beginning.
Yeah, even if at a loss or or even if not at a crazy profit, I think service business is such that you have to be able to sustain. Right. So if you don't think about profit and you think about survival, it's a good time to start now, because I think where we see ourselves right now is that we are on the cusp of a big hockey stick growth. So the hockey stick growth is on the cusp of us going to become the second largest economy in the world after China, $65 trillion by 2075, right? So we're going to be there. So there is going to be the need for service providers. So if you like this business, if you like...
And you mentioned that you also invest in agencies.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you do that and what the structure
is? We typically look at a young entrepreneur who is ambitious, who is looking for basically 2 or 3 things: a bit of guidance, a bit of structure. This business requires certain fundamentals in structure and a bit of access to free-flowing work, because we always have work to farm out. So if you're looking for that, then we typically partner with an entrepreneur at a very early stage. We buy in about 7.5% to 15% depending on what we agree on the deal.
And define early stage. How many clients should they be having? How many? What revenue?
0 to 3.
0 to 3 clients.
Yeah, so I make the pick on the person. Typically, and that's why we come in very early stage. The criticism I often get is that the valuation you give is virtually nothing. So I say it because I'm taking that bet at a very early stage. We've got 8 of such Shebang network partners right now. They've all, touch wood, grown phenomenally well. So on the individual, and then we also make sure that not just the individual, but we make sure that for the first 3 years we send
leads.
Volume of work, not leads.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's volume of work. Yes, we do send leads also, but we send work.
Great.
Saying that this is what we need done and this is the price, and then that builds a portfolio that enables you to enter the marketplace with saying that I have credibility at the back of what I'm building, and then they're ready to go.
Got it. What's the story of the word shebang? And we'll end with that.
Shebang. Shebang means, typically you use shebang, you say the whole shebang. So we started the company saying that we want to be able to deliver the whole shebang to clients, which is why we do creative, which is why we do media, which is why we do technology. And we do like a lot of different things. Now we have a division which only builds through engineering, builds products for clients also. We've just shipped out 3 products last year. So we want to be able to do that, bring everything under one roof for the client. And otherwise, if we can't bring everything under one roof, we bring that one piece which makes them complete. Right. So the shebang is that.
Right. Last 3 questions.
And last thing, one more thing to add is our logo is a hashtag fused with an exclamation mark, which in Unix is actually called shebang.
It is, okay.
So it's an operative called the shebang.
Okay.
It's just spelled Shebang, which is a bit ugly, so we just changed the spelling around. Correct. And what that means is, again, read what follows in its entirety. So it's about completeness, entirety, wholeness, that kind of stuff.
That's a great one. Did this just happen? Like, I mean,
it happened. Yeah,
just
yeah.
happened
I was actually building close by in Cyber Hub, where somebody told me about this, and then that's when we moved it to the logo.
Very interesting. I have 3 rapid fire questions, and you can choose not to answer them. Actually, you can't. You have to. Who's your favorite client ever?
My favorite client ever. My first client, Maybelline New York.
All right. Okay. So your least favorite client ever?
I don't know honestly if I've had a least favorite client. You know, I don't think so. I mean, I'm trying to think at what I would say. Every time a client has left us, I think it's a legitimate reason.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I knew this wouldn't be good answer. And one client like you really wish like you had and you want to work with, not been able to crack.
No, nothing.
All right.
I think we get a lot of good clients that we work with. We are fortunate because
like one dream client still, like, you know.
I don't think so, man. Because I feel like any company who finds you worthy to work with and knocks on your door saying, look, you know, I want to build something with you. Those are the companies that we're working with right now. So I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity. And as we go along, as our skill improves, our work improves, you know, the whoever has that particular need to solve will come. So I don't feel like, I've never felt that FOMO saying, I wish I had that client. Yes, there's work that I've seen, which I say to myself, I wish I had done that work. But, you know, there's no client which, you know, I would look at. The other favorite client, I would say, the other one that I love now, my first client was Maybelline New York. The one I love now is Fevicol. Nice. Because of the advertising that, you know, we are able to do. And with Fevicol, the most legendary piece of work that we had done, 2 pieces of work which I love. One is when Ronaldo moved the Coke bottle. What we quickly did is we moved we just put an empty press conference and we put Fevicol bottle and we said a line, na bottle hategi, na valuation ghategi. Because after he moved it, the value tanked. And then you search for Coke on Google and Fevicol came up. And it was like over, 2,000 odd press coverages on that. Amazing. So that was that. And then
they allowed you to do that. I mean, it's a little bit of a...
It's a risky one.
It's a risky one.
Yeah. That, and then during COVID, people weren't, in restaurants, people weren't, sticking to the social distancing. एक टेबल यहाँ पे बीच वाला टेबल उसको आप चेयर नहीं निकाल सकते हो. But people were sitting there. So we did this experiment with Fevicol in one of the malls where we stuck all the, the chairs and the tables together. And so we captured that and that led to, this whole messaging around social distancing was heavily shared. So, that Fevicol is a great opportunity because we get to do a lot of good creative work with them. Very cool. On that note, thank you so much for coming in. This was great. I learned a lot today. And I can only imagine what the course would bring with it. This is like I'm really enjoy it. And I was thinking to myself this morning before I came to you saying that what I will leave with is a promise to you saying that between us that we are doing this, that next time we don't need to market it again. That absolutely. The people who sit on the table, and that's what you said also, while we were talking. So coincidentally, that kind of matched. Absolutely. This should be the last campaign that we run. And hopefully the curriculum, the course, the outcomes are so good that people then start referring. But thank you so much for collaborating with us on this course and giving us the opportunity to work with the industry. And super exciting. Super excited to see what's going to come. And likewise, good to be part of what you're building here at Masters Union. It's very impressive. Can't do it without you. Thank you so much. Thank you.